Director General of Archaeology, Professor Sinrat Dissanayake, says that there is no connection between recent renovation work carried out at the Sigiri Rock Fortress and the discoloration of its frescoes. He also noted that this discoloration had not taken place recently. The Director General of Archaeology went on to say that it is inevitable for such artifacts to decay over time.
The Sigiri Rock Fortress was built during the reign of King Kashyapa between 477 and 495 AD. Sigiri, considered a World Heritage Site, is highly acclaimed for its world-famous frescoes. Identified as the oldest frescoes found in Sri Lanka, the Sigiri frescoes date back to the 5th century AD. Historic accounts reveal that there were around 500 frescoes at the Rock Fortress in the past, but only 22 of these frescoes remain today. The Department of Archaeology has been entrusted with the responsibility of preserving these frescoes, which date back many years.
With the lapse of time, any artifact will decay. This is inevitable. Measures taken by the Archaeology Department can only extend the lifespan of these artifacts. We are looking into various ways in which these artifacts can be preserved.
If proper conservation methods are not adhered to, future generations may not have the privilege of witnessing these amazing creations.
A husband and wife have been brutally murdered with the use of a sharp weapon in the Perakirigama area in Kataragama today. Now, according to the police, the murders were committed at around 11:30 this morning.
The victims were identified as 39-year-old Panamulla Arachge Kirti Kumara and 32-year-old Devalagama Bandlage Shirome. They were the parents of 3 children. According to the police, a suspect has been apprehended in connection with the murders. A police team has been dispatched to arrest another individual connected to the crime as well.
Three members of the same family who went for a bath in the Mahavali River in the Gannoru area in Peradeniya have gone missing. According to the Peradeniya police, the incident had occurred at around 3:15 this afternoon.
The group of persons residing in the Kotahena area who had gone to the relative's house in the Gannoru area on an excursion had thus gone for a bath in the Mahavali River near the Sangili Bridge in Peradeniya. One of the missing persons, identified as a young girl, was the first to fall into the river while bathing. The police said that while her mother had jumped in to save her, she too had been washed away by the currents. Witnessing the plight of his mother and sister, the eldest son in the family had also jumped into the river in a bid to save his family, but he too was washed away. While 2 other family members who were on the banks of the river had shouted out for help, while area residents and members of the army commenced a search for the missing individuals.
When I arrived, my son shouted, saying 3 persons had been washed away in the river. There were 2 children nearby. One child raised his hand and I tried to pull him out.
They didn't say they were going to the river. Only I was at home. They left at around 3:15. That's when our neighbor came and told me what happened.
According to the Peradeniya police, the search to locate the missing persons is still on. The police added that the location selected by the group for bathing was in no way suitable for this purpose.
In our developing story tonight, 2 sluice gates of the Rajangane Reservoir have been opened owing to the heavy showers experienced in the catchment areas. Assistant Engineer of the Rajangane Irrigation Office, DDU Vithana, said, however, that the situation has not aggravated to a critical level.
According to the Assistant Engineer of the Rajangane Irrigation Office, 2 sluice gates were opened by up to 2 feet due to the reservoir reaching spill level. The Irrigation Engineer's Office further said that 1,250 cubic feet of water is being released from these sluice gates per second. The Irrigation Engineer's Office also noted that if the rain received in catchment areas continues to persist, they may have to open more sluice gates at the reservoir, adding that residents in the vicinity of the Kalaoya have been requested to remain vigilant.
Subsequent to the sacred tooth relic of the Lord Buddha being brought to the island, the country's rulers moved it to various locations in order to keep it safe. According to the Cholavansha, the sacred tooth relic was taken to Dambadeniya from Yapahua during the reign of King Vijayabahu. Once again today, we trace back the historic roots of the journey of the sacred tooth relic. One of the main reasons that the sacred tooth relic had to be taken to Yapahua for its safety was because of the uncertainty that arose following the death of King Parakramabahu II. Accordingly, King Parakramabahu I constructed a beautiful shrine and palace atop of the Yapahua rock to place the sacred tooth relic.
When the sacred tooth relic was in Yapahua, Arya Chakravarti from South India invaded Sri Lanka. He took the sacred tooth relic to South India. This is the first occasion on which the sacred tooth relic was taken away from Sri Lanka by a foreigner. After 3 years, it was King Parakramabahu III who brought the relic back to Sri Lanka.
Based on historic records, the sacred tooth relic was placed in Polonnaruwa for a short period of time before it was taken to Kurunegala from Yapahua. Although it is widely believed that the relic was housed at the premises of the current official residence of the District Secretary of Kurunegala, only ancient remnants of this historic structure are visible today. Thereafter, the brother of King Vijayabahu, King Parakramabahu IV, took the sacred tooth relic from Kurunegala to the Vigulwata Vihara in Gampala.
In related news, Tuskers play a significant role in the Kandy Asala Perahera and hold a special place in the hearts of all those witnessing the grand pageant. This year's Perahera is incidentally graced by 2 young Tusker calves that were at the centre of a controversy last year. The 2 calves include Sindhu and Raju that were donated by the Elephant Orphanage in Pinnawala.
Sindhu and Raju are looked after by the Malwatu and Askiri Mahaviharas. The calves commenced their day by first paying homage to the temple of the sacred tooth relic.
They are well known all over Sri Lanka. They patiently took part in the Perahera.
Senior lecturer at the Faculty of Veterinarian Studies at the University of Peradeniya, Dr. Ashoka Dangala, is closely monitoring the health condition of Sindhu and Raju. This is how the 2 calves were subjected to a medical examination this morning. Officer in charge of the elephants at the temple of the sacred tooth relic, Pradeep Nilapalawa, said that 8 tuskers are required for the Kandy Asala Perahera. Sindhu and Raju are being trained to take part in a Perahera as there is a dearth of trained tuskers to play the part.
They are examined at least once a week. We take blood and urine samples and run tests. They are in good health. Elephants frequently require minerals. We also give them vitamins on a daily basis.
There is no doubt that these 2 Tusker calves will play a lead role in the highly acclaimed Perahera of the temple of the sacred tooth relic in Kandy one day.
Now, as we cover the activities surrounding the Kandy Asala festival in the hill capital, our News First cameras came across an interesting story of a young mahout.
The term mahout is generally associated with an adult who accompanies an elephant, especially for a grand pageant such as the historic Kandy Perahera. However, this 8-year-old elephant known as Banu is looked after by a very young mahout. He is none other than 15-year-old Ruwan Kumara.
The Supreme Court issued a stay order today suspending the decision to send Senior Superintendent of Police N.C. Kudaheti on compulsory leave. The order was issued after considering a fundamental rights petition filed by SSP Kudaheti.
The petition cites a group including the Inspector General of Police, Secretary of Defence, DIG in charge of discipline in the police and the Attorney General as respondents. The petitioner notes that he was sent on compulsory leave due to a mistake made by an officer working under him with regard to a poster that was being printed at a press in Colombo during the presidential election earlier this year. In his petition, he notes that he had not ordered the press to be raided or to carry out investigations into it. The petition will be taken up again on the 8th of December.
Yet another phase of the Jatika Jivya program conducted by UNPMP Sajid Premadasa was held today. This took place down Dias Place in Kunasinghapura.
Today, the United National Party has the ability to actively develop the party in a humble but strong manner that is planned out. I am not talking about matters that are simply limited to committee reports on reform or documentation from a certain organization. I state that the hairs on the hands of villagers and urban dwellers must stand straight when they hear the term United National Party. When there are new programs, there will be opposition. There will also be many obstacles. In short, there will be attacks launched from all sides.
An agreement has been signed between representatives of the Sri Lankan and the Indian fishing industry subsequent to discussions in Chennai.
The BBC, quoting the Jaffna District Fisheries Federation, reported that a procedure was introduced regarding Indian fishermen who approached the Sri Lankan coastline. Based on the mutual agreement, an inspection group consisting of state representatives from both countries has been proposed. The agreement will be in effect for a period of 1 year from the 1st of November. The discussion also focuses on proposals regarding permitting Indian fishermen to enter the Sri Lankan coastline with the use of trawlers for about 70 days per year.
The governor of the Northern Province decided today to cancel the transfer orders issued to 367 teachers in the Jaffna, Vavuniya and Mana districts, which were to come into effect with the commencement of the new school term. The governor had arrived at this decision following a discussion held at the Vavuniya Zonal Education Office today. Last Saturday, Action TV revealed that these transfers had been issued not only contrary to the national teacher transfer policy, but in contravention to the practices adopted by both the public and private sectors when effecting transfers. These 367 teachers, instead of receiving transfer orders, had received a copy of this letter sent under the signature of the Northern Province Director of Education to the zonal education directors in the province. Teachers from Jaffna and Vavuniya revealed to Action TV that using these letters, the zonal directors of education had transferred teachers as they wished.
The Education Ministry is like a place that discharges patients and admits individuals who are in good health. My definition is that this is an institution that conducts work carelessly. When these transfers are handed, they haven't considered individuals who are sick, nor have they considered individuals who have children.
We too lived as IDPs. During those days, we taught our children while being on the streets. We didn't have time to look into the needs of our children. Even at present, are we supposed to leave our children behind and go for duties in rural areas?
At a time when civilian rule has been established in the north, Action TV brought this issue to the notice of the governor of the province while pointing out the need to implement the national teacher transfer policy in the northern peninsula. So at the meeting held at the Vavuniya Zonal Education Office with the participation of the Provincial Secretary of Education and Provincial and Zonal Directors of Education, the governor ordered that teacher transfers be carried out in line with the national policy. The Northern Province Secretary of Education informed Action TV that teacher transfer boards will be appointed and the transfers will be carried out at zonal level in a more systematic manner.